Yeah, here we go. Okay, so I'll just draw something out for you guys that might be worth considering. Okay, and this doesn't just apply to ADUs, it applies to any market. Okay, so let's say here's the client there, and what do they want? Well, in this case, let's say they want ADUs. Okay, but this can work for any specialty area. What they want is, well, obviously what they want is they want an ADU. Okay, now to get the ADU, they need some construction, right? And to get the construction, they need design, right? So what do most architects, I think it was Daniel, was it? What most architects will do is they will line up over here, and there'll be, well, in the US, there's 80,000 of you guys registered architects. So they all line up and go, well, I can do design, I can do design, I can do design. And I don't know if you've noticed, guys, but there's a lot of competition for design, right? The design schools are pumping out architects faster than anything, which is great. So you got all these people here, and they're all saying, I do design, I do design, I do design. Now, for someone like Daniel, and so you've got everyone doing this. Okay, so it's a really competitive game. So the thing to do in marketing is often not play the game that everybody else is playing, right? And what we can do is say, well, what do people need before they go to design, right? So at the moment, everyone's doing that, and they're trying to sell their design. Now, what you can do is you can think about the market and say, well, actually, before they get to design, they go through this big education phase, right? And they have lots of questions. They have lots of questions before they get to design, which is why a lot of people take a long time to, you talk to them and they ask questions, and you think they're a tire kicker, but they're not probably in the design phase. They will talk about design, but they shouldn't be. They're still in the information gathering phase, right? So they're after info. Now, if it were me, I would be setting up a little part of my business where I am Mr. ADU education. I'm the thought leader for ADUs, and I would position myself here, right? And I would provide tools and resources and ideas and education and thought leadership around ADUs, right? So anyone who is in this position here, and they're not really ready to go, which is a large number of people. There's more people who are information gathering about ADUs than there are actually hiring architects, right? But if I can position myself here, notice how many little stick men there are here. There's one. There's just me, right? Now this is a game I can win. I can gather a whole lot of people in here. I can get them onto lists, or I can get them to reach out to me and request my tools and resources, and they can subscribe to some of my things. I can build a rather large list, a prospect list. Now, not all of them are going to end up going through to design, but some of them are, right? And I'm getting them. What am I doing? I'm getting them early, right? I'm able to educate them and get them into thinking about my way of thinking, which means I'm able to set the buying criteria when they do move into design. They're thinking my way. There's so many benefits by being the Lone Ranger over here. So is that a clue as to how you might do it? I think it was Daniel, but does that concept, I haven't got time to go into detail and the logistics of it and things like that, but does the concept help you and give you an idea, or all of you, as to something you might be able to do? Planting seeds for future work growth. Yep. Oh. Yeah, Eric, are you muted?
I guess I was. Thank you for
Yeah.
letting me know. All right. Okay. So I don't know how that happened. All right. So I just see a couple of questions from that relate to some high-tech tools. I think I'm just going to jump in and sort of segue to this for a short little bit. So Daniel asked, have you started to think about integrating AI and Chat GPT to assist? And there is another one that was how are architects using virtual experiences to market their work? So these are very different topics, but they both have to do with computer technology that allows you to potentially do things that you couldn't do before. So very briefly, AI and Chat GPT are interesting ways to get text written that can be useful for, let's say, articles, blog posts, etc., or social media posts. It can make it faster and easier to get some things that look pretty respectable or actually are pretty well written, just requiring a minor editing. So we are starting to experiment with that. We're seeing it quite a bit. Overall, it still relies on you as the expert, as the person who knows what the topic is and what is important to talk about. So ultimately, as what we focus on here at Architect Marketing Institute are the strategies, the things that you need to say or get in front of people, or just position yourself in a way that will attract the right people and make it clear that you provide very special value, perhaps unique value in a particular market segment. So ChatGPT is just a way maybe to get more words out there than you would otherwise. We've also experimented with things where we have someone interviewing an architect and then asking questions. So when you have an ADU, what is the first thing you think about? Or tell me 3 of the things that are you should avoid when planning that. And the interview then can be written up by a writer, or possibly put into ChatGPT to basically get it words on paper, because maybe you're good at talking, but you hate writing, So these are tools that can leverage your skills, but ultimately you have to know what you want to talk about, who you're talking to, what it is that is important to them. So it's not just, we've done 25 years of experience with multifamily, residential projects, but what is it about a developer that they would care about in that sector? Well, maybe it has to do with cost overruns. Maybe it has to do with time to market. Maybe it has to do with getting the maximum utilization in terms of units. These are all things that the developer, if that's your market sector, if you want more projects of that type, care about. So ChatGPT is just one way of getting those words out there, but the strategy is the key part. And in the same way, the virtual experiences. So I have worked with ArchiCAD for a long time. Many of you have worked with Revit or do work with Revit or other tools. There are ways to help clients understand design better and ultimately feel more confident that they're going to get something that they love or that fits their needs. Now, one of our clients who's very successful, Peter Toohey, is an architect in the Baltimore, Maryland area, and he swears by it because, a client coming into his office can look and go, I can really understand, wear goggles, VR goggles there. But ultimately, the success of that has to do with delivering what people care about, and whether it's having more light and air or more privacy or more functional spaces, these are all things that are the primary thing that you want to communicate. The tools, they can help speed your ability to reach people and to make it more tangible. But ultimately, what does it matter to the people you're talking to? And I'm going to give you one example of something that's totally the opposite of these high-tech things. And Richard, I know you'll agree and be able to jump off from this. What sort of questions can you ask a potential client when you're meeting with them that make them dig into their deeper sense of the goals, the meaning, the aspirations they have for a project. What do they want to feel? What are you trying to achieve for them? Because yeah, maybe, you know, a project that's beautiful and that people respect them for. It may be a project that feels innovative and that they are just proud of. It may be something that just is so wonderful for their family that they could live in forever, you know, and transition through the ages. But how can you talk to people and find out what's important to them? Because once you do that, and I'll tell you, one of our successful clients, Eleanor Clark, is an interior design, primarily interior design, and she's in Ireland. And she said just today in our discussion group, she said, I made a client cry twice or three times today. And someone said, was that good? And she said, yes. She was crying because she felt understood. She, you know, like she asked her great questions and the client felt, oh my God, you really know. So think about how you can have that emotional impact through listening more and asking questions.